Hey guys, this is Brendan again. I wanted to record a video about something that's been bothering me particularly lately. What could it be, I hear you asking? Pretty simple. Inequality in the United States. So a lot has been written recently about inequality in the United States, and there's been a lot of different opinions that have been tossed out about the matter, but the general consensus is that it's pretty bad. Bad. It ain't good. There's a lot of research metrics that have shown that social groups with higher levels of inequality show more crime, less engagement from people at the bottom of the spectrum especially, and kind of a general malaise overall. It's almost like when you get rid of the hope that you can advance yourself through the ranks of your social group, you kind of give up on life entirely and more or less hate the people involved. Anybody else remembering the goths from high school? Am I right? By the way, that's coming from a former goth, so I can totally get away with that kind of thing. This potentially is also responsible for some of the things that are going on in Ferguson, Missouri right now, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But particularly what I was interested in is an article that I found called Inequality in the USA, A Nation in Denial? ? I found it through Reddit on PressTV.com, and basically the article was positing something kind of fascinating, which is that not only is there a lot of inequality that is happening in the United States, we're also really underestimating how much it is. So the graspable point of the article is this. Most Americans, when they are asked the question, what percentage of your countrymen fall within the median income level, they guess about 25 to 27%. Surprise! It's actually a lot less. Turns out that about 15% of people in the United States actually fall within that median income gap, which means that a huge percentage of people, like seriously a really big amount of people, are totally outside of that gap, meaning that there are lots and lots of people who are way below the poverty line. So I just want to drop a few more statistics here on you about exactly what we're talking about when we talk about the poverty line. According to the National Poverty Center, for someone to actually qualify as being in poverty, a single individual under the age of 65 years needs to be making $11,000 a year. A single parent needs to be making $15,000 with one child, or two children or more are $17,500 a year. And two adults with three children need to be making about $26,000 a year or less to qualify for being under the poverty line. And this is, by the way, using 2010 statistics, so the dollar has actually fallen in value since that time. I kind of just want you guys to imagine that for a second, because that is not a lot of money. I'm not a rich person by any stretch of the imagination, but I earn more than that. Alright, I'm not going to tell you exactly when I earn that much money, but anyway, the point is, that's pretty low. So directly, this affects a lot of things in terms of growth and economics, because people can't buy things, purchasing power goes down, savings go down, people sort of limit their dreams and the ideas of things that they have in life, and don't spend as much, basically, because they don't have money to spend. Of course, some non-measurable things that this also does is reduces people's ability to feel that engagement actually can improve their lives and limits their dreams. Also, because people don't have the resources that they might in order to pursue the things that they truly want to do, it limits their ability to actually be productive, and be productive in a way that improves all of our lives collectively in this community. So here's what makes it worse. If you're able to run down the statistics about how many people are actually in poverty, the highest percentage by far is children. 22% of children in the United States of America is actually under the poverty line, meaning that their families make that small amount of money that I mentioned earlier. Of course, with rates like this, it's no surprise that some people say as many as 20%. 1 in 5 children in the United States faces hunger. Hunger! So, far be it from me to actually tell you exactly what needs to happen in this situation, because I don't know. The thing that's true across the board, however, is that neither does anybody else. Once again, we're stuck in this kind of situation in which we all know and agree that this is a problem. Studies show that communities with high amounts of inequality are just terrible, and we've got it. Basically, we're finally at the point in which people who traditionally would agree with conservative concepts, Wall Street types, bankers, are also looking at the problem. These are people that are seeing less growth themselves and are deciding that this is probably something they want to have handled. But the big question is this: what do we do? I don't think anybody knows, and it's going to become a bigger problem before we even start to solve it. Of course, I could be wrong, but meanwhile, there's 22% of children who are living below the poverty line. I think there's only one thing that's true about this situation. It's that we need to have a structural change in the way that our social organization functions. One of my favorite philosophers, a guy named Slavoj Zizek, has a question, and he says, why is it easier for us to see the end of the world, whether it's zombies, comets, asteroids than it is for us to see a very small change to our social organization. This is the richest country in the world. We should be ashamed that we can't feed 1/5 of our children. I don't know what the solution to the problem is, but I would love to hear your thoughts. Meanwhile, the madness continues.